Hi guys and welcome back to Tom's Racing Tips. This is episode number 4 of my Ante-Post selections looking into 2022 Cheltenham Festival. So I've just got the one tip for today's episode. It comes in the National Hunt Chase, the final race on day 1 of the meeting, and it's just this race just short of 4 miles, and my selection is going to be Run Wild Fred. He's a best price around 5-1 right now, and I actually think that is a very good price because when you look at the race, I don't think it's the strongest of divisions at all. I think it's actually quite a weak race. It could turn out to be, with horses going for the Festival Novice Chase instead of the 3 mile Novice Chase. So I do think it could cup a bit. And Gordon Elliott, who trains Run Wild Fred, has a terrific record in the race. He's won 4 out of the last 12 runnings of the race, so he's definitely a trainer to follow going into the race. And if you included Galvin last year, who he did train, he would have 5 out of the last 12 five out of the last 12 winners. So I do think Run Wild Fred for Gordon Elliott, who said that this will be the horse's target already. I think 5-1 looks a very fair price for a trainer who does very well in this race. He's a second season novice, and that is actually going to play to his strengths, I believe, this season. He had a string of seconds last year, couldn't get his head in front, but showed very good form in top class races. He won very impressively last time out, beating Farclas, but he carried a lot of weight that day, and he won very easily in the end, and he just looked like he could have gone on for a lot further, and that was only over 3 miles. All of his better form has come on better ground, so I think he's definitely a good soft ground sort of horse. And last season he ran a lot on heavy, so I don't think that would have suited him at all. So I think that's probably why he had a string of seconds, and he was quite a frustrating horse last year. But I do think he'll have some more luck this year with the ground, as the weather has been very good so far, although it's going to turn over the winter. It looks like it's going to start raining a lot. But I do think by March at Cheltenham he should get his good soft ground. I do think he could be a hard horse to beat on the day. His jumping seems very good. It's never been an issue for him. So I do think Run Wild Fred at 5-1 seems a very good bet for the National Hunt Chase. He is favourite, but favourites to have a very good record in the race, so it can be mad to go against him sometimes. So he ticks a lot of boxes when looking at the race, and Gordon Elliott will surely book a top class amateur like Jamie Codd, I would have thought, for the race. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. So I just think he's a very solid selection for the race when others have lots of question marks over them. The other main rivals in the race is Statler for Willie Mullins, but he's never a horse that's convinced me at all. He hasn't even jumped the fence yet. He has a lot of questions to prove, and he's always disappointed me, to be fair. He's not actually quite as good as what people I think want him to be. So I do think he's got a lot of questions to answer. Ahoy Senor, who won at Newbury a couple of weekends ago, he was very good on the day, but I think the race completely fell apart. Mr. Incredible never turned up, didn't look comfortable at all. So I do think Ahoy Senor, I know the form apparently is really good on for the race, but I'm not convinced by it. I was there, and he jumped to his right, so that wouldn't suit at Cheltenham as well, so he wouldn't be able to make that sort of mistake. I just think he had a lot of freebie on the front end, and although he finished very good and the time was really good, I'm just not totally convinced by him. He might be a very good horse, but I just don't think Cheltenham will play to his strengths, really, even though Lucinda Russell thinks he's one of her best horses she's ever trained. But so he's probably a main rival, but he could also end up in the RSA, the Festival Novice Chase 3 miler instead, so he might not even turn up in this race. But so you have to think about that if you're going to back Ahoy Senor as well. Vanillier, I think, will definitely run in this race. He won the Albert Bartley last year. Looks a proper stayer. I'm not convinced that his chase form is that strong this season. He looked beat last time and then got going late on in the day and managed to get up, but I'm just not convinced by him. I think this trip will suit for the National Hunt Chase if he went for this race, but just not convinced by him at all. Last year's Albert Bartley form doesn't look the strongest at all, really, so I wouldn't be that keen on him, to be fair, even though he could go really well. I'm just not that taken with him. And another one of Gordon Elliott's is the Boss's Oscars for the race. And I've heard a lot of people tip this horse up for the race, but he's disappointed all season. There hasn't been any excuses for him, really. And I just don't think he's good enough. He didn't win the Temps last year. He ran a good race but didn't win. I just think this is a better quality race than what he's up to be fair. So I just would be hesitant on him as well. Beacon Edge won the last time, but got going late on the day in a race that's I would argue fell apart. The horse in second, Gabinacco, jumped terribly and he still managed to get up for second. So Beacon Edge, I think no, he hasn't got the class to win this sort of race. So wouldn't be worried about him either. And I know there's a Paul Nicholls horse called 3 Under Through 5. He's a very interesting horse, to be fair. He won at Cheltenham this season already. Looks a proper stayer, looks a good jumper. Just Nicholls horses at Cheltenham Festival, they're not ones for me at all. He targets other Grade 1s and big races throughout the season. He just doesn't make Cheltenham Festival his main priority. So, like last year, he hardly had a winner at Cheltenham. So, I would stay clear of Nicholls' horse at Cheltenham. Just don't think they have the quite class edge that some of their rivals. I just don't think Nicholls actually targets it. So, I would stay away from Paul Nicholls' horses at Cheltenham Festival. But that's my opinion for him. I think 3 Under Through 5 will turn up in this race. However, I think he's around 16-1, so he could be an each way poke. But he will be beat by a slightly classier horse on the day, and hopefully that'll be Run Wild Fred. So that is my selection for the National Hunt Chase. There was a lot of big Ante-Post indicators over the last weekend with Kilcruck getting beat. You guys probably know I'm a big fan of his. Very confused by that sort of run. He travelled really well. I thought he looked fine going to race, travelling through it, and he just didn't pick up down the home straight. I don't think he was completely right because he shouldn't have been beaten by 10 lengths by that newcomer for Henry de Bromhead. Although the winner could be very, very good. He's around 16-1 for Supreme, and that is looking an interesting bet. I think he could be overpriced at that. Horse I was massively taken with was Supreme would be Constitution Hill. He just looks an absolute monster. But the Supreme looks wide open now, I'd say, with Kilcruck getting beat. So it's quite an interesting race. Honeysuckle looks... She'll win the Champion Hurdle. The guys have come up with a sort of a banker treble for the Cheltenham Festival. If you want my 3 solid, safe picks that could go together in a treble. The treble is around 16-1 right now, so it's going to be Honeysuckle Champion Hurdle, Bob Wallinger for the Marsh, because Bob is going to be my best bet of the whole week. I've said this since last year that he'll win the Marsh, and I'm very confident on him. Cannot have people criticising his jumping at all. I think he's got a massive engine. He's just going to be amazing, and I think that Marsh could cut up. So those two, and also Appreciate It for the Arkle. I think the Fernie Hollow's run the other day, I don't think he's the most natural jumpers, and I don't think the time was that great. I just don't think although he won well and he jumped well up the home straight, the fences were taken out halfway round and he didn't look a natural at the fences. I think Appreciate It looks a born chaser, and hopefully when he gets out of the fences he can show him how it's done. I think those 3 in a treble, so Appreciate It for the Arkle as well, is a great banker treble for the Cheltenham Festival. But my main tip for this episode is Run Wild Fred for the National Hunt Chase at around 5-1. So guys, make sure you tune in for my next episode. I'll have another Ante-Post selection, and thanks for listening, and make sure you can sign up to all my daily tips for National Hunt season. It's only £20 a month. Just visit my website, links in the description, and I'll see you all next time.